Lazav the Multifarious versus Oloro, Ageless, Ascetic. Our opponent just quit on us on turn 0 as soon as they saw Lazav and then joined our game again straight away, so I'm not sure if they've just changed commanders on us. We're going to keep that because we have Dimir into Lazav. We can also go for a turn 1 Phyrexian Dreadnought, which will allow us to throw it straight into the bin. We'll get our blue mana down. I don't think it really matters. And we will, of course, not be able to do this, so we'll get sacrificed straight away and go straight into the graveyard, which is where we want it. And I don't see why we don't just go for Lazav straight away and then try and get into Phyrexian Dreadnought. And this is a jeweled amulet, and they can remove a charge counter from it and add 1 mana of any type. In that case, we'll just head in for Lazav, I think, and see if we can put a land on top. That would be nice. That's exactly what we want. Now, we can't protect Lazav, and I imagine Oloro has removal, but we can always hope that he doesn't. It is an Esper commander, 4/5. They gain 2 life at the beginning of their upkeep, whether he is in the command zone or on the battlefield. And then whenever you gain life, you may pay 1 generic mana. If you do, draw a card, and each opponent loses 1 life. Path to Exile will definitely take a land. We have 1 on top, but this way is... we might draw into another land, and then we get even more lands on the field than we would have done otherwise. We don't. We get Crucible of Worlds. In that case, I think we'll hold up Forbidden Alchemy. Or we could just go straight into Glimpse the Unthinkable. That actually gets more things into our graveyard. So we'll actually save the Forbidden Alchemy. Yeah, we'll pass over to our opponent now. Good to get Nether Traitor in there, especially with a Phyrexian Dreadnought in play. And Wall of Souls I doubt will help us this game. Really want to use that against big smashy green creatures. And if we get into late game, Fades the Untouchable might be of some use to us. Okay, going for Thought Vessel. Have to assume that they don't have any more removal in hand, but they may do. We might just have to go for Crucible of Worlds. Ooh, Buried Alive will do something for us. I think we do have to go for Crucible of Worlds though, just so we can make a land drop. Would be nice to get a fetch into the bin so that we can make a land drop every single turn. And ultimately doesn't matter how much life our opponent gains unless they can use it to win, because we can get commander damage off on our opponent if we manage to keep Lazav in play, which is a big if against an Esper deck. Okay, they decided to play Oloro. Not often you actually see Oloro be played in an Oloro deck. Okay, Ornithopter. Alright, I'm just going to go for... or do I want to do that? I'm just thinking maybe we could Bury It Alive. Go for Vector Asp. Then we have a means of unblockable and Vector Asp and Phyrexian Dreadnought itself. But then we wouldn't have the mana. Yeah, I think we just have to go for Lazav. It doesn't actually matter. We don't have the mana to give it haste anyway, whether we do it this turn or next. Triskelion can definitely go into the graveyard. That is another means of a combo. So we could Buried Alive and go for Necrotic Ooze and Phyrexian Devourer. Phyrexian Devourer, Vector Asp and Invisible Stalker, and then if we could play a land next turn we could go into Invisible Stalker in response to any spot removal. That would be ideal. So that is the line of action so far, but it does rely on us getting a land into play next turn. The Path to Exile really slowed us down. Grim Monolith nets us mana. Now then, we have 1, 2, that'll be 3, 4, 5. But then if we use 3 on the Buried Alive, that'll leave us with 2 mana. I think we have to Buried Alive either way, which means I think we Grim Monolith. And we always have the chance to untap it at some other point in the game if we want to. So this is now Invisible Stalker. And then I think Necrotic Ooze, Phyrexian Devourer maybe. Or if we're going to go for, I think we have to just go for Vector Asp. So I think we can try and get down this new combo with the Wall of Blood. I think that's a good idea. And then if we turn it into the Invisible Stalker now, while they can't use spot removal, they might board wipe just to get Lazav off the field. And I think we might as well play out the Ornithopter. If they wipe the board, they at least get an Ornithopter into the bin for us. And I don't think it matters us swinging in and getting 1 point of commander damage on. We're only going to get commander damage with Phyrexian Dreadnought, and they have to do something about us this turn, or we're going to win next turn, because we can just swing in and do Vector Asp and Phyrexian Dreadnought. They might have spot removal in response to us knocking off the Invisible Stalker. That will of course take the hexproof away once we turn it into Vector Asp and Phyrexian Dreadnought, and they do have lots of cards in hand, so they're obviously hunting for something, which is most likely spot removal. And this might be a board wipe. It is not. Oh, and they are incredibly close. If they get... yeah, they've got it. They managed to deal 50 damage to us. That is, pay 50 life. Deal 50 damage to any target. Ironically, well, not ironically, but had we have swung in there, I'm not sure that they would have been able to do that. They might have had another spell to cast. In fact, they probably would have done. They probably would have had another spell to cast, but yeah, had I have known they'd had that in the hand, I would have just swung in. There was no reason not to in hindsight. But yeah, good game to our opponent. That is Oloro, doing what Oloro does best, and managing to get the Path to Exile onto Lazav on turn 1 is, well, that was a means of getting the win out for them there. So good game to our opponent. That was Oloro, Ageless, Ascetic versus Lazav, the Multifarious. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in the next one.